obviously men's singles is a freaking toss-up right now. Hunter's been winning, Connor's been winning, Fez's been winning, Ben's been winning. I've been doing everything but not winning.
I mean, you're hungry, right?
I am 99% hungry.
Let the forehand fly.
Let the forehand fly, baby.
I think that's the beauty of men's right now. Honestly, any 1 and an 8 could get hot and do it. I mean, Fed's the smart money, but you're my dark horse, Tyson.
There we go. Come on. Ride or die. This man's loyal.
I think people are going to be gunning for those two. And I think someone's going to step up. My money's on you.
Yeah, that's what I like to hear. Tyson McGuffin, welcome to the McGuffin Show. I got a couple of units on the pod with me today, and a lovely little 10 over there that I'm looking at that I need to wrestle with a bit more, if you know what I mean. Quit being so angry and just wrestle her down. It is a lovely day here in Coeur d'Alene. We're going to be talking about MLP Orlando, crazy semis and finals, both Challenger and Premier. Big shout out to Miami Pickleball Club for winning challengers. Woo, woo,
MPC.
woo. Yeah, no way balled out. Tell you what. And then Miami Flash, the Flash Mob. Who would have freaking thought? I was putting my chips and putting my money on the Shock. I thought there was no way. I thought that team was totally stacked. But it comes to show in MLP, anything can happen. We'll also talk about year-end finals, 2025 camps, 2025 cert that we have rocking and rolling. Anyhow, somebody that I have on the podcast today, you guys have not seen him on this podcast. If you've taken a camp from me, maybe you have been leveled up by my man Seth here. Seth lives in LA area. Seth, what part of LA do you live in? Sorry.
Yeah, I live about half hour north of Los Angeles, near Magic Mountain.
Magic Mountain.
Yeah.
So Seth grew up as a tennis player, was USPTA certified. He's now an ER doc, one of the smartest, most cerebral teaching pros that I've been around. Great human, great dad. And Seth, how we doing, buddy?
Doing great, man. Happy to be here.
Good to have you on. And K-Mac. K-Mac is in Mexico right now, living the dream.
You know, in Puerto Vallarta with the wife.
PV.
Little bit of a vacation from the kiddos.
Yeah, yeah. And K-Mac, how long are you guys down there?
We're gonna be down here about 5 more days.
There you go.
5 more days. So good long stretch.
So his poor lovely princess, K-Mac, tell us the scoop.
Yeah, so it's not totally a vacation. We had a couple of days where we could do much. Now we're kind of holed up in a hotel. About a month and a half ago, we were at a birthday party for my daughter at a trampoline park. My wife, Callie, landed in a weird way, had a full tear of her ACL and a couple big partial tears of her meniscus.
Did you guys sue that trampoline park?
We should have. We should have.
How much,
just for the prices of admission alone,
how much paperwork do you have to fill out before you hop one step on that trampoline?
No, it's a full process, right? They know what the hazard. They should just warn anybody over 30, just stay away. It's not for
that place
you.
is dangerous.
The body doesn't want it. So yeah, it's been kind of rough, but hopefully she's recovering better now. She had her surgery, and we're just binging shows, just trying to stay busy.
We need the stat. How many people in the ER are coming in from the trampoline parks?
Yeah, right. Keeping Seth in business.
I know.
Keeping Seth working, baby. Seth, tell me how many trampoline related injuries have you seen in your line of work?
Let's just say I think it funded my kids' college fund.
Yeah, perfect. There we go.
It's a daily occurrence.
That's a daily occurrence. But K-Mac's being a great husband, as he always is, and taking care of his honey. So, Kyle, you have a camp coming up. It's in San Diego directly after year-end finals, correct?
Yeah, 9th and 10th of December. Sounds like we've got a lot of sign-ups, still a couple of openings available. Yep. So come hang out with me and the crew.
And K-Mac, that's at the new hub location there in San Diego, correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay.
It'll be my first time checking that spot out too, so I'm excited.
Mama, tell us about the hub. Tell us all about it.
The hub. Well, it's been around for a while now.
They have a few locations.
Yep, they have a few locations. It seems like everybody that goes there just loves it. They have like everything you need. It's highly well organized. I think the same crew who started, if you guys remember, everybody going to Newport Beach Tennis Club back in the day, and us having plenty of tournaments there.
It's Pat.
But
Patty Cakes. Pat Rolfs.
And Pat is
so full of shit, by the way.
I know, but he's your third third. You know, Pat. I'll tell you
So
a funny
funny.
story
Pat
about
always
Pat.
tells me that he's my sixth favorite person in the world.
No, I thought he said third. He said, oh, sixth. You're right.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
'cause
because me,
wifey,
four kids, and then Pat. Yeah,
Pat,
so.
I'm sorry, but you are not my sixth favorite person. Just kidding.
No,
But Pat,
we love Pat
and his partner own Pickleball Superstore.
Yep.
They also own all the hub locations, correct?
Correct. I believe so. But yeah, it's super cool. I have never actually been. I've seen photos. I'm really kind of jealous. Actually, maybe I'll come down, Kyle, if you have odd numbers. And I'll
There we go.
hop
There we
in
go.
Yeah, we need you in there. We need you in there.
Meg, if you can fix one thing, honestly, it would make my life so much easier when Meg is taking a camp for me, and that is she loves to run through her third. You know, she doesn't use the old address and assess. She likes to just blindly move forward.
Rush.
She does.
Work that transition zone. Just get comfortable there, and then you don't have to rush.
I was like almost 9 months pregnant at the pickleball courts in Coeur d'Alene playing with some ladies, and that
was the most disciplined I've ever seen her in transition.
Yeah,
but it was all because she was so top heavy. She was coming up in like an organized manner, you know.
Best pickleball of my life. Best pickleball.
It was playing out of her
Forces
head.
you to be a little patient.
It did. I wasn't moving as fast.
Oh my god!
Love it.
And
you're gonna be ready for the seniors then. Man.
I know. That's when I'm coming out.
60-year-old pickleballer.
Yeah, exactly.
We're just gonna switch positions. I'm gonna be a stay-at-home dad. She's gonna go on the senior women's pro tour.
Okay, perfect.
That's right.
Nice.
Perfect. No, I'm just gonna do all the pickle and golf member guests all around. I hear that's a thing. Sounds fun.
Seth, tell us what is the club that you teach and play at that K-Mac and I you helped us run a camp at that beautiful location. What is that place called?
Yeah, it's the Paseo Club in Valencia. It's a great club out here, little suburb of LA.
Yeah.
They got 11 pickleball courts, tennis courts, pool, gym. It's great. Great facility.
And Seth, you do some teaching out there?
I do, yes.
Nice, like that.
Are there some pros that play out of that club? Maybe?
We have a couple kind of guys that have gone out of qualifiers a few times in the main draw. They play at that club.
Cool.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Seth is the biggest walking highlight reel around that club. Okay.
I like it.
And Seth, tell me, are you playing senior pros?
I did last year.
Okay.
I played most of the tournaments that first half of the year, then got a little busy with the new job.
Yeah.
This year, I haven't actually played a tournament. I've been doing a lot more coaching, a lot more just playing for fun. And then, of course, we're working on the curriculum that's taking a lot of my free time.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay. So let's get right into MLP. Like I said in my intro, I thought for sure the Shock would win. I think K-Mac and I both had kind of touched on this. The Shock is stacked, K-Mac. I mean, you have Tardio, you have Hayden, you have Anna Bright, and then Anna always finds some tough son of a gun. And this year she found Kate. Last year she found Rachel. And she knows how to pick them, I'll tell you what.
She's got the recipe for sure.
Her track record is untouched. Right? And I think even before, when you were on the MLP team with Anna Bright, I think she suggested going with Lacey Schneeman, who at the time wasn't super well known, and we see how good she's gotten too. So her track record is unbelievable. And with that team, I thought how well they're all doing on PPAs, the team chemistry. They seem to all really get along. I thought they were going to win. Over the fives. I thought the fives would give them a good run, but I thought, my pick was St. Louis to win it, and I was way off.
So
Talk to me.
I was going to say, Connor Pardo posted a little poll. It only had 150 votes, but the final results were 33% Shock. This was who do you think is going to win?
Just asking fans.
Asking fans and asking followers. 33% said the Shock. 16% said the Flash, 43% Fives, and 8% Ranchers. So it seemed like, yes, there were quite a few people that were Shock believers, and then also the other half, I think, were Fives after that.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Controversial tier.
Okay. All right, so Miami and Dallas win it. So Miami had who, K-Mac? Bobby Oshiri, Millie Rain.
Milan Rain,
Eric Onsons, and then No Way.
No Way.
Hey. I mean, Eric's playing super well. So is the girls. But No Way's doubles game the last 6 months has come a long ways, correct?
For sure. Yeah, I think he came on, had some good results in singles, but Has just a lot of feel with that backhand slice. He's been able to play the left, in newer partnerships pretty consistently where they're giving him the strong side,
Right.
crushes the drive, can get a lot of free points. Heck of an athlete. But I remember when you played him first in singles, kind of like Jaume,
There's a lot of cat and mouse.
different type. Yeah, a lot of cat and
And not
mouse.
much
Like
power.
he excelled.
Right.
He excelled with his touch
Right,
and his
right.
movement. So you see those type of singles guys, I think they can get pretty elite in doubles a lot quicker,
Right.
just with the dinking and the feel
Right.
required, up there at the kitchen line.
Yeah, and I think something that's totally changed in his game too is that he was using a Gen 2 early on in the year and playing a bunch of cat and mouse. Now that he's using a 3S, it seems like he's getting more on his counter punch. And then in singles, like he's just getting more out of the serve. He's driving a bit more. He's not dropping as much and playing a bit more cat and mouse. So it's funny just what paddle technology does to somebody's shot selection, if you know what I mean.
It's like there's an easier way. Right? Why play an amazing 15-ball rally when you can play a pretty solid 3-ball rally?
And Seth, I know that I had given you a Gen 2, and then you have been using a 3S, correct?
Yeah. I was very happy with the Gen 2, but when the Gen 3 came out, it's just a game changer.
And tell me. So obviously we're not going to talk about Gen 3 because the Gen 3
away.
is not around anymore. But the 3S. So Seth, you're currently using a 3S, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So and tell me what's the difference that you see versus the Gen 2 compared to the 3S?
Yeah, I feel like you get a little bit more kind of hang time with the ball. You can actually generate the power with the spin, so you can actually keep your power in the court.
Yep.
And that's kind of the difference with some of these other power paddles. You can hit it 80 miles an hour, but it hits the back fence.
No control.
For sure. I think, and I think if there's one paddle in particular that's just so feely touchy, it's a Gearbox. Built great. Raphael from Gearbox does a great job with all the engineering, but yeah, it just doesn't have enough grit where like if you're using like a fourth ball roll volley or if you're trying to speed from like below the net, it's more of like a bailout speed up than like a calculated, you can brush it at 40% and be able to kind of get it to go up and down.
Yeah.
Where if you take a look at like the paddle tech, I think the paddle tech paddle and technology is pretty similar to a 3S. You get both spin, shape, and feel. But no, I think that's the coolest thing about just some of the newer technology now is that you kind of get best of both worlds. But if you want to swing, you can swing and you can trust it because there's plenty of grit and the ball is actually getting down versus the Gearbox that just sprays on you.
Yeah, it's that dwell time on the paddle.
Right.
I mean, to be able to attack from transition zone, can't do that with the Gen 2.
Yeah, and K-Mac, take us through what does QD do in transition these days?
He takes some cuts.
He takes some freaking swings.
Well, it throws you off too. Like when you have a positional advantage against your opponents, you roll one down like at their knees or lower. I don't know. For me, maybe I just so old school. I'm expecting a reset so often, right? So when they're able to just take a cut, you just have to be ready at all times now for offense from some different locations.
Right. Let's see. USTA training facility. That's where MLP Orlando was held at. Beautiful location. There in, is it Lake Nona? It seems like Lake Nona is like the new kind of booming real estate area.
Seems like there's good.
There's a ton of like developments and stuff all kind of taking place in Lake
good
Nona.
restaurants, like nice little areas. It seems like a bunch of like corporate, I don't know, corporate buildings around. So it seems like it's like a higher end dining and stuff like that. So
yeah,
nice.
But yeah, they had center court. They had a little grandstand, rock and rolling. Seemed like there was plenty of people there too. K-Mac taking a look at both semis and finals. It was a packed house.
Yeah, our owner Al sent us all a photo of the line waiting to get in there, and it was backed up way up into the parking lot. So it's a good sign for pickleball, good sign for MLP in general. And I tell this to all pickleball fans that pickleball is great, but there's nothing like MLP in person.
Right.
And, you really get a sense of that energy and that rowdiness. And maybe it's not for everyone, but I think that it's a breath of fresh air from people that got bored with the tennis vibe, right? It really is a little bit different, and it's unique.
So the Squeeze had an activation take place last week. I was not there, unfortunately. I was kind of rehabbing with my Achilles and got a bunch of filming done as well. But the Squeeze, let's see, they went to a Magic game.
Yeah,
so not gonna lie, love the Squeeze. We've had about 10 different activations this year, so I've pretty much have like a second home there in Orlando now.
Which
if you know
is
what I mean.
great. And that's what it should be,
which
right?
is all good.
No, it's 100% what it should be.
But the best activation was this last week. They got to go to a Magic game.
Yeah.
They
sat courtside.
The ownership group owns the Magic.
Correct. Yeah, they sat on court and
did like a little halftime.
It looked like Meg did a little shooting. I saw the video. So Meg, Mr. Layup shots, I guess, or not layup shots.
Yeah, Mr. Layups, but made her three.
But made her three. So you know what?
Okay, she redeemed herself.
She got the toughest.
But yeah, the Squeeze did that. They did like a little news station thing, taught some clinics, and so yeah, with MLP, the finals being there in Orlando, it was cool that the Squeeze fans, even though we didn't make it, they were still loving pickleball. And they came and showed up and showed out and cheered on all of these semis and finals teams.
Yeah, and to speak a little bit about the Squeeze real quick, they do such a great job. I mean, I know obviously your ownership does great too, Kyle. I know there's
seems like there's a handful of ownership groups that do it the right way.
That's what I was gonna say. There's
really,
a few
really
teams
get the community involved
for sure. And I think you know, even when the players can't make it, or maybe there's a PPA tournament or whatever, the Squeeze are still out in the community doing events and doing things with their partners and getting people playing pickleball and all the above. So I love that we go back there so much, and I love the ownership group, and I think they do a fantastic job at growing the fan base. And to speak to all the people showing up to watch the finals, I mean, we did a meet and greet, I think, there right after you guys, right at the beginning of the season, we did a meet and greet, and I think over 1,000 people RSVP'd. So, and it was just a fun hit around
at the same facility.
Yeah, at the same facility. So if we can do that for a meet and greet, we should be able to fill a final for sure. And so if we can have more cities do that, I mean, the future is bright for sure.
Okay, so
well, and like you guys said, there's a handful of teams that get it, that aren't just trying to build pickleball or MLP, but they're really building a fan base and connecting the fans to their players locally. And you do need to have PR events like that,
for sure,
you know, in your community, and everybody benefits when you do that.
And two, like in the next 5 years, it's going to be so cool where, you know, now we're going to have teams building their own training facilities, and we can have home matches, we can have away matches. The fans can like really get behind it. And no, there's just so many cool things that are going to take place with MLP over the next 5 years, you know?
Yeah, of course. No, I think the thing is too, I think like with the hometown camaraderie, I guess like Squeeze does this really well. There's, you know, a women's soccer team that's for Orlando. There's a men's soccer team in Orlando. There's a NBA team in Orlando. So all of the Orlando teams, they like support each other.
It seems like they all use Advent Health as well. So there's similar brand deals with all their
that run through, which make it a lot easier. But it's super cool. You go to an athletic event. For instance, we went to the men's soccer event, and we go and we're out like kind of tailgating beforehand, and we have our own little booth, and community members are coming through, and they're there to watch athletes, right? They're soccer fans. They're there for that. But then they're like, oh, sweet, these are the professional, you know, these are the Orlando professional pickleball players. So it's just,
and they had no
by
idea
proxy,
that like Orlando had like a pro.
Yeah, exactly. Team, But they're like, oh, sweet. So they want their autograph and they want a picture, even though they didn't even know existed. And now it's just growing the fan base. It's smart.
Little cross collaboration. Cool. Yes, pretty cool. Anyhow, so K-Mac, you were mentioning that MLP is rowdy, and some of the rowdy things that I saw over the weekend was AL was a little upset during the flash mob. I think it was the finals, but she was like muttering to her mom something about like they were being so lucky. We have Hayden flipping off Christian. We have Will Howe shoving a ball in Christian's face. Honestly, kind of similar. Like the overall, so I guess they were both in the kitchen, but it was kind of similar to that video where that dude kicked that dude in the face, and the guy was like leaning over and cheering in his face, and then he drop kicked him. Christian was like leaning over the net, right, screaming in Will's face, and then I think it was on like a changeover. And so Will didn't seem like Will was even looking at him. Will was just looking down, grabbed it, like scooped it with his paddle, shoved it at Christian. Happened to hit him in like the Adam's apple, and then Christian like goes to both refs, asks both refs if they saw anything. K-Mac, what do you think? Can you?
Yeah, I mean, Christian definitely gave it a little bit extra, right? Like he let out like a and then he like got even closer, yelled out like another like just being a foot or two away from him. So it looked like to me that Will did react emotionally and kind of hit it at him, like kind of like screw you, right? Probably can't do that. I like it being rowdy.
Right.
I don't know how you regulate like it being too much. I think Christian definitely kind of asked for it
Right.
with how much he was giving
Right.
and kind of the body language there.
Right.
So maybe they need to figure out a way to, to cap it. But that's probably just the discretion of the referee.
Seth, tell me this: what do you think about somebody blatantly cheering in their opponent's face? I think that's the main question.
Yeah, you know,
Is it good for pickleball or not?
You know, I like controlled energy.
Controlled energy,
MLP.
baby. You
Controlled
would.
aggression.
There you go. Controlled aggression. You
Yeah.
know, there's a difference. There's, you know, Michael Jordan, super high energy. He knows how to get into his opponent's heads, but he's not screaming at him
Right.
or being, you know, physically dangerous. So it's that controlled energy, that controlled aggression, which I love.
Right. I would never do it. I would never let my middle finger go again.
How
many views has that video got? If that's not the most viral video in pickleball, I don't know what is.
Right, but I think that obviously, I think that could have been a lot worse. One, something bad could have happened from it, and call me the worrywart because that's what I am. But I think something way worse could have come at that, and I don't want to have to be freaking worrying about going to my local courts and some hothead getting all pissed off. Yeah, granted, maybe the other guy was taunting him,
right.
But I've been in the reverse situation where I've been playing a tournament in a mixed situation, and the guy on the other side's obviously heated and
Barking
cussing
away.
and I actually like a ref made an error and he was so angry and like throwing things and hitting things and like I mean that's the last thing you want to worry about when you're going to court. Right. So I would not encourage anything.
Well, two things with that. So you look at MLP where it's super rowdy. We've seen it, go off the rails a couple of times. But when one team wins the match, almost every time the players switch their faces, they kind of humbly
100%.
shake hands most of the time, right?
100%.
And they're not saying like, yeah, like right in the face of the other team after the match is over, right? That's during when the competition. Right. So the guy that got kicked, I'm not going to say he was asking for that to happen, but like for him to be that rowdy during the handshake and hit the paddle out of their hands for the guy that he hit out of his hands, he was trying to grab the paddle for him.
Oh, he was.
When he was down on all fours when he got kicked. So he definitely was in the wrong, but like I think he was trying to at least be courteous there and then lights out.
I think rewind to what I think you were rewind to what I think you were getting at, which was that if players are going to cheer at their opponents in the face, like during matches, you better be ready to expect something coming back. Now, should it be physical? No, it shouldn't. Is that what you're getting at?
So I preface this whole thing by saying I would never let my middle finger go again.
Right.
I would never do that.
Which one of us was a wrestler? I think
this is not UFC.
I'll tell you
this
what.
Is pickleball. Stop. But no,
homeboy that laid the kick. Let's just say that was not his first kick. I think he had done some training.
Kyle, I think you said this before. Right. Do you think it's gamesmanship when someone does that? Like when they do like cheer at their opponent, do you think that they're doing it with the intention to get in their opponent's head, or do you think they're just doing it because that's simply their personality?
I think pressure does some crazy stuff to people. Go ahead, K-Mac.
Yeah.
Like, is it calculated?
I think it could be a combination of both, and I think it kind of depends on the person. Like you look at Matt Wright. Look at the history of him. I guarantee it's gamesmanship with him. Like the way he does it, how often he does it, the moments he does it. I think some people just in that moment, it might just be their ego just being out of control, right? But either way, I think when you do that towards someone, it can potentially break their confidence. Again, I think it needs to be constrained to some degree. I have no issue with someone getting loud and excited, but when you're going out of your way, multiple yells, puffing your chest out right at that person, they're a foot away from you, you have to expect some kind of response.
Right. I just wonder. I wonder if those people watch the tape back. Like I know you watch your games back, obviously, to pick them apart, and I mean, even Kyle, you watch Tyson's games back. But I wonder if you're that kind of person, and it is in the heat of the moment, and you watch your game back. Like, are you kind of ashamed? Like, are you kind of like, oh man, probably shouldn't have said that, or you're numb to it?
I think there's so many players that show a certain personality on the court, and then off the court they're totally different, and they just totally forget.
It's like a doorway they walk through.
Right.
Yeah, I got it.
Right, and I've seen that for like the last 9 or 10 years. It's kind of a
it is
kind
true.
of a common theme.
It's funny too, but fans don't see that off court personality always. I'll say again. I would say that if you're a player and you don't put yourself out there and people don't get to know your story and don't know who you are off the court and you are kind of an animal on court, you're going to get some more heat from the crowd. And I've seen it time and time again. I've seen players that are pretty rowdy on court. I won't name any, but let's just say there's a few on court that are known to get loud and say certain things. And the fans get so defensive for the other team or the other players. Not maybe even because they're fans of the other players, but simply because they see this like outrageous behavior on court.
Fans are always going to choose a side, though.
But it's funny because for players, like for us, even me as your spouse, I almost dismiss it because I'm like, I know that guy off the court because, like you said, it's like they walk off court and they're completely normal. It's just what takes place on the court. Right. But it's funny to me because, or I think it's kind of polarizing, and you have to watch that because I think players sometimes get so angry at the fans in the stands because the fans can have some really strong reactions, but they forget that the fans don't know you on a personal level. And so you either got to show them that or you got to kind of understand that how you hold yourself on court
fans
is what they're going to
they're going to
enjoy. Well, I think we're seeing more of that, right?
No,
I mean, I think we're seeing more of fans trying to get involved, which I don't advocate for, and I don't think that they should. But I think that it lends itself to some problems if you don't actually know that these people, we all do get along outside of, you know what I mean? Like, there's no, like, huge, like, you know what I don't know what I'm trying to get at there, but.
So, talking about gamesmanship, I know from a handful of pro players and kind of watching Hayden play J-Dub this year, Hayden is always talking at Dubber, and I think, I mean, that's a prime example of, like, an 18-year-old who's way too confident talking a bunch of shit to a 21-year-old, and it's been getting in J-Dub's head. That's what Riley does to J-Dub. That's what I mean, Rafa and Will Howe and Rafa and somebody else have played. Yeah, Rafa and Hunter should have freaking beat Dubber and Dylan at Worlds. Rafa was chirping the whole time at Dubber. So I think, there's certain players recognize that other players don't like it. And I think it's just a little situational, kind of based on who you're playing. Obviously, Matt Wright, he's going to openly, do that with anybody because he loves to test you, if you know what I mean. That's his line of work. But
True.
It is. That's his line of work, man.
Well, even me coaching Riley. Even me coaching Riley last year for DC, like him and I had a conversation where, he was naming certain players and was kind of like keeping score. Like, you know what? I got rowdy with that person, but I think that actually made them play better.
Right.
Like when I got rowdy with this person, that worked a little bit more. So he's another one of those people that's very calculated. Yeah. He does it if he feels like it gives him an advantage. Simple as that.
Right. Smart.
Hot topic.
Smart.
Whoa.
Hot topic. All right. Let's see. Let's talk about Zane. How many finals has Zane made in MLP, right? I mean, he made a couple, won a couple in 2022.
It was with the squeeze.
Sorry.
Last year.
So in 2022, he was
the one with BLQK.
Yeah, I think BLQK. I think him and Rafa had won, two of them?
I think they won two.
Yeah. And then he wins one or two last year, and then first one this year makes a final.
Insane.
Yes, he's won at least 3 or 4, made like 5 or 6 finals. It's just a crazy record. I mean, Zane's a really good player, but for somebody that's not consistently making like semis or better, on the PPA tour, for him to be that dominant in MLP is pretty impressive.
Yeah, for sure. And kind of crazy too. So just looking at like overall player standings throughout the year. So Annalee said she went 43-3. I don't think this is accounting for Orlando because she had lost 2 in Orlando, correct, K-Mac?
Yeah, she lost the final couple.
So you have Annalee goes like 43-3. Anna goes 38-8. Hayden 36-10. But if I'm taking a look at Zane, like Zane went like 18 and let's see. Where's Z, man? I'm missing him. Right there. He went 18-28. So, I mean, and that's the beauty of MLP. I mean, him and Will maybe won half of their, men's matches this year. Him and Mari, won 30% of their mixed matches, and the guy still made a final. Obviously, it came to show that Mari and Anna were probably winning like 90% of their women's matches, and then Will and AL won a good portion of their mixed matches. And talk about a team too who won. I mean, how many Dream Breakers? I guess how many Dream Breakers did they lose this year? Maybe one, maybe, and they won like 8 or 9.
Yeah, they only lost in the finals.
Yeah, right.
In that best 2 out of 3. The first one, or excuse me, the second match to Dallas. That was the first time they'd lost to Dreambreaker the whole year. And knowing how the good they were in Dreambreakers, you can kind of use that strategy when you're choosing like to put their number
No,
one
of
mixed
course,
team
of
sometimes
course.
against their opponent's number 2 team.
Yep.
Play for the tie and just say, well, we're going to beat you in a Dreambreaker. So they use that strategy, seems like, throughout the year, and it worked really well for them.
Yeah, so we ended up playing the 5s in Vegas, and I think they were 4-0 going into our match. So maybe they were kind of looking past us. But anyhow, we ended up going up 2-0, 1 women's, 1 men's, and then sorry, our girls lost, so it's 1-1 going into the first mix. I think we won the toss, so we chose to put our mixed lineup out after theirs. So we ended up putting our 2 versus their 2. So Megan and I played their 2. We ended up winning that one, and then we kind of banked on our 1 beating their 1, and we're kind of able to get it done. But we were trying to focus on obviously not playing in a Dreambreaker and just trying to get it done in mixed. And no, that's a team, and that's a certain tactic that you use kind of going into that mixed format is. Should we put our 1 versus 2? Should we just line it up, kind of like head up and go 2 versus 2, 1 versus 1 and try to bank on that. But no, it was a damn good Dreambreaker team throughout the whole year. And Mari Humberg has been playing some singles with singles with PPA, and she's been playing pretty well. So, I mean, that whole Dreambreaker roster, you have Will, you have Zane, you have AL, and you have Mari. So it seems like they can all play some high-level singles.
Well, especially if you have some high-level female singles players. I just think if you look at the men in Premier, just about all of them are at least decent in singles, and it's
Right.
only 4 points, so it's tough to like bank on a huge edge there in almost any matchup. But when you have Anna Lee against a lot of the other female players, some of which you don't play a lot of singles,
Right,
that can really be a big difference in coming out ahead in the Dreambreaker.
Right. And K-Mac, that last Dreambreaker, it was like 16-12, but Georgia had went like 3-1 against AL. Was that the last? Was that the finals match or like the last finals on Sunday night?
No, the last finals on Sunday night, the deciding
3-1. It was 3-1.
match
Right.
3 was
Got it.
3-1.
Got it.
So they needed to win that Dreambreaker to push it to a deciding third match. And yeah, clutch. I mean, they hadn't Fives hadn't lost a Dreambreaker all year. Yeah, Georgia, like you said, won 3 out of 4 against Anna Lee right at the end of that breaker. So I mean, that whole team just stepped it up big time. They were not on my bingo card to win it, and they definitely turned some heads.
Yeah, Augie and Tyra played super well. I think won a good majority of all their mixed matches. Tyra and Georgia totally balled out. And no, I thought there was no freaking way the Flash would come through. And they seemed so vulnerable throughout the year. Like we were talking about this. They ended up losing 4-0 against the Mad Drops that first day in Salt Lake City. And the Mad Drops had Blaine subbing in for Thomas.
Yeah.
So yeah, it just comes to show that it's not about how you start, it's about how you finish, and that team finished very well. Okay, year-end finals. So we got some different pairings taking place. I'm gonna scroll to PPA's website here real quick. So singles, top 8 in singles is Fed, Ben, Connor, Hunter, Kwong, Dylan, Jame, myself. Women's, you have Anna, Brooke, Catherine, Kate, Salome, Caitlin, Paris, Mary, Brasha. Mixed, you have Anna Lee, Ben, you have Anna Bright that chose Tardio. Kind of interesting. Do you know who Anna's playing with next year, mix-wise? Is she playing?
Don't. I'm guessing she's bouncing around a little bit,
Okay.
but I do not know.
I would assume she's bouncing from Tardio, Hayden, and then probably Christian. Georgia, J-Dub, Catherine, Christian, Tina, Deckel, Etta, James, Rachel, Fed, Jesse, Rye. The women's dubs, you have Anna Lee, Catherine, Anna, Rachel, Etta, Megan, Hurricane, Elise, Callie, Lucy, Georgia, Lacey, Tina, Paris, Mari, Jesse. Those seem like all matchups, or those seem like all teams that were playing together this year. And then men's doubles partnerships, you have Colin, Ben, Dylan, Pablo. So it looks like J-Dub went second because Colin chose Ben. So J-Dub was 3. So J-Dub chose Gabe. Dylan chose Pablo. Fed chose Hayden. Deckel chose Christian. I chose Andre. And then Matt James, Riley, and Jame. So year ends is kind of fun. So basically, it's a progressive draw. It starts Wednesday. I made it in 2 events. Made it in singles and men. So I'll play 2. So it's a pool of 4. So 2 pools of 4. You basically play everybody in your pool Wednesday through Friday, and then Saturday semis, Sundays finals. But yeah, kind of fun. They're like prolonging the whole week and kind of doing like a progressive draw style format with pool play starting Wednesday. So yeah, basically play 1 match a day or one match per event each day, and then semis will be Saturday, and then rock and roll championship Sunday.
So Tyson, what do you think? Being a player that's used to the kind of the grind and kind of the same old tournaments.
Yeah.
What do you think of these events that are just a little bit different, like this one?
Yeah, I think this one's definitely special. Top 8 based off rankings, last one of the year. It seems like most players were all kind of chipping and clawing and trying to get their ranking in a position so they could make year-end finals. So I think last year there was 3 male players that all made 3 events, J-Dub, myself, and Ben. This year I just made 2 events. So no, I think this is definitely a bigger one. But obviously more than happy to be there, more than happy to compete. I'm playing with Andre. Last time Andre and I played together was Nationals last year. We ended up losing to Hayden and Callan. But yeah, happy to play alongside of the Romanian. Let him do a thing. Let him do his thing on the left. And then, look to have a nice little run in singles. So, but no, I think there's definitely something special with this one, just being top 8. And they obviously run like an amateur tournament as well. But it seems like there's, much less pros there. It's all the best of the best. And I think I got asked this question a couple times last year. And, just like the level of play, everybody's good. Right, it's all top 8. Everybody's good. During pool play, like there's no shortcuts. Every team is gonna bring it. And I also like the whole different format of like pool play that leads into a semi. And I think it's a good way with starting Wednesday to get people at the venue and watching. Obviously, we've talked about this in the past, but doing a progressive draw. Obviously, you're playing 3 events in a day, so. Just seems like, most fans want to watch mixed doubles and gender doubles. And obviously it seems like singles is getting more shine these days. And there's fans that are definitely appreciating watching the physicality of both male and female players play singles. But yeah, I think just having all 3 events and starting early in the week, it's a good way to get people there earlier. And no, I'm more than ready to rock and roll and have myself a nice little last event of the year. K-Mac, tell me who, let's see. Let's make a pick for Seth and K-Mac.
Okay.
So out of men's and women's singles, who do you see winning? So men's singles, we have Fed, Ben, Connor, Hunter, Kwong, Dylan, Jame, Tyson. Obviously, men's singles is a freaking toss-up right now. Hunter's been winning. True. Connor's been winning. Fed's been winning. Ben's been winning. I've been doing everything but not winning. And then you have women's. You have Anna Lee, Brooke, Catherine, Kate, Salome, Caitlin, Paris, and Mary. I'm personally saying Anna Lee for women's. I think that's given. That's kind of in the cards. But gentlemen, what do you think for the men's? Who's going to take it home? Hunter or Kwong? Or is Fed going to come in and
Gosh, it's tough to pick against Fed these days. I mean, you're hungry, right? You're hungry. You're ready to get after it.
99% hungry.
Let the forehand fly.
Let the forehand fly, baby.
Beat anybody on a given day.
Right? I mean, put the backhand slice for turn in.
I think that's the beauty of men's right now is, you can make a prediction and say Fed just because that's a safe bet given how consistent he's been all year. But, like, honestly, any one of the 8 could get hot and do it. Mm-hmm. I think Kwong, after he beat you the last tournament, it seems like his confidence has maybe just gone down a little bit. Like, that's as good as I've seen him play.
God, he got freaking rolled by Michael Lloyd. I know, right?
Yeah, no, for sure. I saw his confidence waver just a little bit. So, I mean, Fed's the smart money, but you're my dark horse, Tyson.
There we go. Come on. Ride or die. This man's loyal.
I'm gonna go crazy. I'm gonna go Fahey.
Okay, Fahey. And hey, Fahey's a dog.
Time before she beats her. And Anna Lee, it's the first time, and maybe she'll come out, hungrier than ever. It wouldn't surprise me.
Right.
But in MLP, it's the first time before she lost, like I saw her confidence waver just a little
Yeah.
bit.
No,
Normally
for
when
sure.
she gets down, she just goes extra aggressive and just finds a way. You could kind of see the look in her face. Like she was, I don't know. It was the first time I had seen her confidence look like it'd been hit just a little bit. Now she's an amazing player, but I think Fahey's going to get her eventually.
Right.
Why not now?
Yeah, no, the level definitely dropped that last MLP final Sunday night. She didn't look good in women's, and they ended up getting beaten mixed as well. So, Seth, who do you think? Men's and women's singles?
All right, so women, I think because of Annalie's performance recently, I'm actually going to pick her. I think her coaching is too good. I always try to dislike her game, but I can't because it's just so good. There's nothing to dislike. You can't. I try to analyze it. What is bad about it? How can you?
There's
you know,
not many
How can you
holes.
pull it
There's
apart?
nothing.
If you have a hole, let the whole world know, please.
I know it's crazy. So I think she has a great support staff. I think she's a true athlete, a true competitor, and I think having this little bump in the road
Right.
is going to actually propel
Wake her up a little bit.
So
Get-
this is a
get
good
back to the
test.
drawing board.
This is a good
Yeah.
test. We'll see what happens, but I'm going to pick her.
Yeah, and it always
Men,
go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
men, I'm going to actually say the opposite. Fed and Quan have been playing so well, and that group of 8 is so strong. I
Right.
think everybody's going to be gunning for them.
Okay.
And I think someone's going to step up. My money's on you.
Yeah, that's
but
what I like to
Ben
hear.
as well. Ben, you can never count Ben out either.
Right,
I think
right.
people are going to be gunning for those two.
Right. For
So
sure.
I think this one's up in the air, but I got to go with my guy.
Yeah, and I think Ben didn't look good in Worlds. Ben ended up losing in the round of 16 to Michael Lloyd, and then I don't think Ben played Milwaukee. So Ben's coming off 2 tournaments where he did not win in singles. I think he's going to be extra hungry, and honestly too, like you take a look at some of the best athletes in the world. Like anytime they have a bad loss, whether it's AL or it's Ben, they usually get back to the drawing board and find like a much better version of themselves. So I think Ben and AR are going to have a very good showing. Hopefully I can step up, do my thing, find the forehand, serve deep, put the freaking backhand slice return in, and defend for my life. And usually if I can do all those things, it's a damn good day.
I would say too. I feel
Hungy.
like San Clemente's kind of like a home court advantage in a way. So we love our
We've had some good results in
SoCal
San Clemente.
peeps.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
Had
some
good
great
there.
results there.
Yeah, yeah.
So happy to be back. Happy to be going back.
And San Clemente venue, probably one of the nicest venues in pro pickleball. It's up on the hill there in San Clemente. It's at a Lifetime facility. It was an old tennis club back in the day that they remodeled into a fitness club, and they've done a great job with all the pickleball there. And anytime we're at a Lifetime facility, you have all the amenities, you have the cafe, pros can use the showers and the sauna and the hot tub and all that stuff afterwards. So I'm not gonna lie, anytime that we go to a park, I am like totally sad. There's you don't have all the amenities, like the bathroom smells like a middle school locker room, and usually like there's no food, or there's food trucks, and the food trucks aren't serving healthy things, and it's definitely nice just to have all those resources.
It's definitely
to be
easier
at a
to
Lifetime.
be in a routine at a Lifetime, and especially with the food there that you would normally eat, and you can fuel the right way. You can get body work. You can
all right
warm up in the gym if you need to. You got
Spacious.
literally everything you need. So it's perfect, but it does spoil you a little bit for the others for sure.
Okay.
Well, in San Clemente, you can get some nicks in you too in the evening, Tyson.
yum.
That's your lucky charm, right?
Get some what?
Nick's.
Oh, some Knicks.
Knicks.
Right,
Knicks.
right. South of Knicks or just regular Knicks.
We just live at Nick's
Yeah,
while
for
we're
sure.
there.
Right.
Knicks is yummy. Okay, 2025 camp schedule. Mama, run us through those dates.
Oh,
It's your turn to shine, girl.
Put me on the spot.
It's your turn to
let
shine.
me pull that up. While I'm pulling this up though, not to pull us back, but did you guys see that MLP not just MLP, PPA and MLP are going abroad, and so similar to PGA, like there will be an MLP PPA Australia, which there is now, right? And now there will be an MLP PPA Asia. So that's pretty exciting. It's right around the corner.
It's growing. It's catching on all over.
Yeah.
And so basically with doing that, they'll just kind of run the same tournament format as PPA, just in another country.
Right. It will have a points format. They are intermingling it essentially with PPA in a way. So there'll be one event per year at these international tours that domestic players, you guys from PPA can go over and play, and it will count as points. So, and then that'll be their biggest tournament. So, definitely in Australia, that one we're going to. It's coming up quick.
That's in January.
I think beginning of February, or end of January.
I think end of Jan.
Yeah.
I think we're going down a week early to go to the Australian Open.
Yeah, the weekend before that will be at Australian
Open. Do some media
Open.
stuff there,
Yeah.
and then play the tournament directly the week after.
Yeah,
right?
so excited to see everybody in Australia. And then I believe PPA Asia will be in October.
Got it.
Okay, here we go. So, do you want me to just run down some of the cities we're going to go to, or what do you want me to do?
Yeah, so we're, kind of similar to the last couple of years. So definitely looking to piggyback some camps off of PPAs. So the first camp we're going to piggyback off of PPA is PPA Masters, the 6th through the 12th.
Palm Springs.
Yeah, we always run camps on the Monday, Tuesday after. K-Mac will be leading that one. You can get signed up by going to TysonMcGuffin.com. All the camp registration you can simply just sign up by going to that website. All the camp registration stuff is on there.
Yep, it'll be live. So you'll be within the next week or so. They'll be live, so you can go on and register. You can register for day 1, you can register for day 2, or you can register for both days.
Yeah, maybe just run through like the first couple months. How many camps we have
so
going?
we've got Palm Springs in January 13th and 14th. February 24th and 25th, Mesa, Arizona. March 3rd and 4th.
And those are all after PPA. So there's a PPA Arizona Cup 17th through the 23rd, and then Camp 24th, 25th. Tampa Bay, we have a tournament the week directly after 26th of the 2nd, and then a camp 3rd and 4th of March there in Tampa Bay.
Correct. March 31st and April 1st, North Carolina. Believe it will be Cary. It's not confirmed yet. April 14th and 15th, St. George, Utah. April 19th and 20th, actually a local camp here in Spokane. May 19th and 20th, Atlanta, Georgia. We love that lifetime there in Peachtree Corners. And then some fun summer stuff, June 14th, 15th, Lake Chelan, Washington. And then June 23rd and 24th, that one will probably be San Diego. And that one we are looking, hopefully, to have that be a Tyson camp as well. Yeah. So we'll kind of have a
But yeah, so
fun
camps
one
will
there
be
in
listed on the website in like the next week or so. Also, if you have a camp that, or maybe if you have a group and you want us to come to your area, you can email info@TysonMcGuffin.com. We also take request-based camps as well.
For sure.
We're partnered up with PPA and MLP. We'll kind of piggyback some stuff off of those events. But also, yes, if you want us to come to your area, and you have a group of more than 16, please email info@TysonMcGuffin.com.
For sure.
And we would love to send one of our pros to your location.
We would love that, yeah. And then do we want to talk about what will be in connection with our camps?
Seth, 2025 certification. Tell us what you're working on, why we're looking to do it, what's some of the research that you've come up with, and just general kind of layout of cert program for 2025.
Yeah, this has been a passion project of mine. So I have 3 pickleball coaching certifications. I know you guys have, I think, 2 or 3 each as well. And over the years, we've kind of identified some things that could be improved. And so we kind of identified 4 key aspects of these certifications that we could definitely do better and improve on. And that's what we did. This is not something we threw together this year. This is something we've been talking about and working on for the last 4 years. This is a lot of what's in here is 30 years of coaching background, talking to pro coaches, D1 coaches, Olympic coaches, and kind of putting it all together for pickleball. And so some of the things that we're doing that we saw with these other certifications that we're lacking is, one, just the depth of the actual pickleball curriculum, the actual skills involved with pickleball. You know, a lot of these programs are a 50-point PowerPoint, then you come out for 8 hours and you get your certification. They're just lacking those kind of nuances and details that you need to be a really well-rounded coach. The other thing is the depth of the art, science, and psychology of coaching. And that's so important to be effective. And so we have a bunch of pages about how to be a coach, how to develop your philosophy and your coaching style. And that's just so important to have and to think about before you ever step onto the court. Number 2, our curriculum's dynamic. We have, Tyson, you're on the Pro Tour. Kyle, you're coaching on the Pro Tour. On the senior tour, we all coach 3-0s to 5-0 players. The game has changed. It's changing every day. I mean, who would have said, let's attack from the middle of the court, 5 years ago.
Rules are changing every day.
And so our curriculum is dynamic. The first pickleball certification I got, they called the transition no man's land, and just get out of it. That was what they taught us. Like, oh, that's not really today's game. And so our curriculum is dynamic. It's going to evolve. We actually set aside time every year. We're going to talk. Hey, is there anything that we need to change and adapt to today's game, to today's technology, today's balls, today's paddles? And the other thing, the third aspect is the strategy. These other certifications really aren't strategy heavy. Follow your return in. If you hit a good third shot drop, go in. If it's high, stay back. That's not strategy. That's just basic pickleball. We're talking actual strategy. You have a team that's one player's more aggressive. Why should you actually return to the more aggressive player?
Right.
That's a mistake I see a lot of people make. They avoid the aggressive player and they allow the aggressive player to get up to the net and do their thing. So we're going to be much more strategy heavy. We're going to actually have some live webinars where we talk about strategy at the different levels. And then the fourth thing we're going to have is actual continuing education. And not just, hey, read this or watch this. We're going to have a couple live webinars with specific topics a couple times a year that you can log on. We're going to talk about how to help your player that gets nervous in a tournament. They play great in practice. They play great in rec games. But when they get to a tournament, they fall apart. We're going to have a whole session on that. And all these techniques you can use to help your players with that. So we're going to have a really heavy continuing education aspect as well. So those are kind of the 4 areas that we really wanted to improve on.
Yep.
And then the second half of a coaching certification is the coach themselves and their skill level. And if you're going to coach at a higher level, you need to have a ability at a high level. You need to be able to, if someone wants to work on a block, you better be able to speed up at their shoulder, at their chest, out to their chicken wing while you're watching that player, right? You need to have that skill level high enough to do that. And so we're going to have a higher level certification where you actually have to have that skill level. And it's going to be much more rigorous. It's going to have a lot more time you're going to put into it. You're going to be coming out to a camp. You're going to be putting a lot of hours in. You're going to stay after the camp for additional training. You're going to have our whole curriculum, which is over 100-page long curriculum. And if you actually pass that level, people are going to be confident, like, hey, this is a coach that can perform and coach at that higher level.
Right.
Now, having said that, we don't want to ignore my favorite group of pickleball players, and that's that non-professional pickleball coach. And they're the ones who are responsible for growing the game. They're the ones that have, got me involved in pickleball. They're the ones that are at the park, and the family the day after Christmas shows up with that netted bag with indoor balls and wooden paddles. And like, what do we do? Right. That's that Bob and Betty on the court. They run off the court.
Bob and Betty.
Yes.
Get out here and play this great game.
They're the ones teaching that family. They're the ones who will spend that 20 minutes, 30 minutes with that family, teaching them how to play. 6 months later, one of those kids is playing a 5-0 tournament.
No, they are more than needed.
100%.
I met a guy who was a high school tennis coach, retired, phenomenal teacher, phenomenal coach, 4-0 player, no desire to play any level higher, and no desire to become a teaching pro at a club. He coaches his 10 to 15 hours a week at the local park, and probably one of the better coaches in the country. Guy has 30 years of coaching experience.
That's awesome.
Good player. That guy absolutely needs to be empowered to his job. And that's what we're going to do. That other level of certification is going to empower that group. We're going to give them the same curriculum. We're going to give them the same resources. We're going to give them the same insurance, that if we don't want this guy to ruin his retirement by someone twisting an ankle and not having insurance.
Don't want that.
You want to give them all those resources to do it even better,
right.
To empower this guy, because these guys are the most important people out there. And so we want to have both those levels. And if you qualify for that higher level, people are going to be confident that you have both the skills and the knowledge to coach at any level. And if your desire isn't to be a head pro at a club, but you coach and you're a great coach, you do a great job, you get people involved, we want to empower you as well. So that's what we're doing.
Yeah,
It's
so
exciting.
we're gonna. Go ahead, love.
No, I was just gonna say it's so true. I mean, I feel like both of those groups of people are so important and so so big for the sport. And so I think, as we've seen, I think, gosh, I don't know, what did we say? Even 3 years ago, 4 years ago? I know, Kyle, you could chime in here. I think it wasn't that long ago in the past that everybody and their brother were teaching pickleball camps, and people were signing up for everything because nobody knew any difference, right? It was just like, I want more. I want to take everything out there. And I think now, in recent years, it's starting to filter out. We're like, okay, wait, that's good instruction. This is not good instruction.
Yeah.
There's
But
enough content out there now.
correct. But I think some of those original certifications, not any shade on them, but have not evolved and not necessarily evolved in certain ways. So I think, like Seth said, this has not been something that we could just quick throw together. We've been talking about it for a really long time because it's taking a really long time to really put it all together and make sure that we are improving upon the areas that the others are lacking, and just a way to really push out something globally that we really want, for people to be able to take home and learn from, and a really good foundation, especially so that other countries as well, when pickleball started here, again, it was that more mentality, and everything flew and everything was fine for a while. I think we have such an opportunity as we're growing globally as well to now introduce like really good instruction to kind of start off the wave. So excited to get it to go not only here, but globally as well.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, I think pickleball is just ready for something a little bit bigger and a little bit better. And a few years ago, like we referenced, there were so many people that were just so excited about the prospect of teaching others pickleball, right? And that was great, and we love that passion. But it seemed like the curriculums available to them were really serving that need of just, let's get you certified quickly, as quick as possible, get out, spread the word about pickleball. But I think now there's a lot more people that have desires to really want to get a lot better, play at a really high level. And so curriculum just needs to kind of match where pickleball's at now.
For sure.
Yeah, and I think, K-Mac, our main objective with camps is, campers come and they have certain expectations coming to the camp, but they have a great time. They have so much information that they took in that it's like spilling out of their ears by the end of it.
Drinking from a fire hose.
We all feel like family. We all feel like family afterwards. And that's kind of like the same motto that I have, with the certification, that it's going to evolve. The teaching's going to evolve. We're going to pack it full of a bunch of resources, whether it's through educational videos, coming to camps, getting the higher level cert, looking through the written curriculum. Just give you this whole new kind of modern approach on our curriculum that's been so successful with camps. But kind of tie in like the fun element and the family element with, we're going to have some conferences with it.
For sure.
And the conferences that we're going to have with all of our certified our certified pros would be we're going to do like a 3-day festival where like day 1 would be workshops, day 2 would be in the classroom, day 3 is more of like this tournament style. We're going to add food and drinks and a bunch of fun stuff. And,
for sure. And then too, I think this certification is not just a set it and forget it, put the letters behind your name and go do it, right? This is, like Seth said too, like we're building a community. So I think what's really cool about this is it's not just a set it and forget it, pass your test and go. Yes, pass your test and go, but in the same sense too, we
want you to keep coming back.
For sure, and there'll be check-ins. And just like you said with camps, when people, it's crazy how many campers we have repeat camps even in the same year. Now the curriculum doesn't change, but every time they're learning something different. Right? So coaching we like the same approach, right? You're evolving as a coach as you go, right? So you might at first, you only have X, Y, Z, or maybe lay the foundation, but you should be able to progress just like you can as a player and take it to however far you want. Like you said, Seth, maybe you don't want to take it all the way, or maybe you do, or maybe you don't know now, but then, in 6 months now, okay, actually I do want to work at a club, and I do want to learn how to build programming, and I want to, and that's something too, we want to touch on the business side and, growing your brand. We've talked about that. So I think there's so many facets to, being a coach and teaching pickleball. And we also have a video library. So like you said, it's like drinking from a fire hose. But if you want to go back and you're going to go head out to your park that morning and teach your lesson, or the pro's going to show up to his club and hold some group classes, he can get back on, log in, and look at some drills and, things that apply to that, programming for that day. So we're going to make it highly accessible for you to just be able to pop on and enhance your coaching ability all the way around.
Yeah, we want to make sure we have a community that we're empowering each other.
Right.
Someone in Nebraska is gonna come up with some dinking drill that no one else thought of, and they're gonna share it with us, and wow, now we just have one more tool to use.
Everybody benefits.
We want to make sure that everybody every year keeps evolving and getting better.
Yeah, so last week, K-Mac, it was a long week, I'm not going to lie. I spent 5 days, I don't know, anywhere from like 4 to 6 hours a day just grinding through videos. And so day one did like 12 YouTube videos that were all 10 minutes each. Tuesday did 12 10-minute videos for YouTube. And then I basically did 9 fundamentals over 3 days. Not gonna lie, there was a lot going on, and this is all cert related, right? So we're just kind of basing the whole cert program off of like the 9 fundamentals that we teach during camps. But the tricky thing is that I'm not talking to students, I'm talking to coaches, right? So I had to change the language, and then we did level specific drills for beginner and intermediate, and then level specific drills for intermediate and advanced, and then level specific games as well for both those levels. And I packed in anywhere from like, I don't know, 4 to 5 drills and like 2 to 3 games per skill set. So just like trying to come up with different drills. And I think like when I was USPTA certified, I can't tell you how many times on a Sunday night I would log into my portal and I could go on the video library and I could find just a bunch of cool drills and games that all kind of tied in with like the general theme that I was going to teach throughout the week. Anyhow, I just made sure as I was doing all the educational stuff last week that was all cert related that I jam packed a bunch of drills and games for beginner, intermediate, and then intermediate and advanced. So very lengthy process, but got the job done. Not gonna lie, Friday I got done at 3:00 and I was a happy man. It was a long week.
Made it to the finish
line.
No,
Colton was done hearing me by the 5th day, if you know what I mean.
No. No, I think we have like over 70 videos just to start it out. And the beauty of this program too is we'll be able to add in videos as we go. And so you'll always be able to log in, like you said, the morning of and find your drills for the day. And you might just see that good surprise, like there's some extra or some new stuff in there, and we'll be letting people know as we add to the
and as a coach, part of the reason it's so nice to have like an extensive library of drills and games is a lot of times you're meeting with the same people
for sure,
once a week, twice a week, and they're not ready to move on to a bunch of new shots until they've mastered the fundamentals. I mean, even at the pro level, it's a lot of grinding the fundamentals. So as a coach, it's just a breath of fresh air to be able to give them some variety, still working on what they need to work on. But if you only have, the 2 or 3 drills that you invented yourself, your clients are going to start getting a little bit bored or kind of check out of some of those lessons. So it's nice to have some more resources, at your fingertips.
Yeah, and a little tip that I used to use when I was teaching, like anywhere from 60 to 70 hours of tennis a week. I would just kind of have one general theme throughout the week because I'm doing anywhere from, 5 to 8 privates a day, right? And so on like a Sunday, I would come up with like a general theme, whether it was, defense or offense or serve and volley or be more crafty in tennis with like drop shots and lobs and stuff like that. Anyhow, so I would find a general theme on a Sunday and then log into my portal, take a look at all the different drills and games that kind of tie in with that theme. And not going to lie, when you're teaching like more than 40 hours a week, it is so refreshing to be on one general theme throughout the whole week. And I guarantee by the end of the week, you are teaching that theme about as best as you can because you've been talking about that theme all week long. So usually by Thursday, you have conquered that theme and you are shining Thursday, Friday. And not going to lie, when you're changing the theme or you're doing different topics, hour after hour, there's just a lot going on. And so I personally think it's kind of nice just to have 1 or 2 themes throughout the week, come up with some fun drills and games around that, and then just kind of use that as like your main focus throughout the week versus having to bounce around all over.
Makes sense.
That's such a good example. And that's the kind of stuff too. Like it's one thing with the teaching curriculum to learn how to teach pickleball and to learn you know, that aspect of it, and actually like break down technique, tactics, court positioning, all of that, like really that kind of stuff. That's a huge meaty portion of it. But there's also the stuff that's like that. That's stuff you maybe don't think about. And especially if you're not like, I never taught 40-hour weeks, 60-hour weeks. I wouldn't have thought of, oh shoot, if I kept the same thing, you know, whether I'm working with kids or whether I'm working with whatever group it may be, if I kept the same thing, I'm just going to get better and better and find my confidence in that topic. So stuff like that, little indicators, ways to improve yourself as a coach. I mean, I would say just as meaty is that whole aspect of it. So you're really going to get all of that all in this certification.
Yeah, there's so much more in here. There's how to create age-appropriate skills and drills, how to use video analysis, how to group versus individual lessons. And we have a big section on mental strategies in competitive play, building a practice plan, developing a well-rounded athlete, even something on managing conflict and behavior, which is something a lot of people don't have experience with. So again, we just kind of went
K-Mac and I
a
know
little bit more detail.
I know the method. If somebody's being difficult, you freaking shove it down their throat until they choke on it. I'm just kidding.
I think it's a kick to the face.
Let them know who's boss.
Kick to the face.
Oh, stop. Aggressive.
Well, that's what's so funny about teaching camps is that if somebody's being difficult, you can just kind of give it back a little bit because they've already paid their $5.99 or they've paid their $8.99, right? But if you're teaching an hour lesson and Dorothy pays $60, you kind of want to keep her around, right? So yes, just the managing of somebody being difficult in a 64-person camp is much different than Dorothy on a Monday morning at 8 a.m.
Oh my
Yeah, 100%.
But you have to learn to manage that, right?
Yeah, no, there's methods for private lessons, group lessons, and camps.
It's different,
right?
For sure.
Camps is just a bit more raw. Okay, if you don't like it, leave. Just kidding.
Oh, stop.
I'm very excited because we're throughout the year and stuff with this continuing education, we're going to have stuff on nutrition and fitness.
Right.
Things that just other certifications just don't even cover or think about covering.
Right.
So I would have never signed on if this wasn't going to be something that's just better than everything else. And I know both Kyle and Tyson, you guys, I think we kind of all have very similar personalities. We're all a little bit nerdy. We're very analytical.
Geeks for the game.
And we're also perfectionists. That's, I know the two of you are perfectionists, and you really, if you're going to do something, you're going to do it right. And I'm very excited about this because I think we did it right.
All right, well, Seth and K-Mac, thanks for jumping on. K-Mac, safe travels home. And Seth, I'll be seeing you in Mexico. Mama, love you. This is Tyson McGuffin, and we will see you later.
Out.
Thanks, boys.
See you guys.
Woo.